I'm up over 60%. That's crazy. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, Wealth Hacker Labs. I'm your grateful host, Jeff Rose, and I hope that you like dessert because we're going to get you a fat slice of pie.
Yeah! Get pie! Get pie!
Okay, so we're not talking about that kind of pie, but we are talking about our investment pies. And when you think about investment pies, then most likely you think of M1 Finance. Even though M1 Finance isn't a household name yet, they are a force to be reckoned with.
Use the Force, Luke.
And I know many of you want to start investing or you're looking at different investment options, but man, there are just so many different choices out there. You got M1 Finance and Betterment and Robinhood and Stash, Fidelity, Vanguard. I mean, the list goes on and on. So in this video, I want to answer the most common questions that I get about M1 Finance. So today we'll be answering, who is M1 Finance? What does M1 Finance offer? Is M1 Finance safe? What about their fees? And is M1 Finance for beginners? And then I'm also going to give you an over-the-shoulder look at my personal M1 Finance account. And as a bonus, I'm going to have a more in-depth training on how to set up your M1 Finance account for those that want to take it to the next step. All right, before we get started, a few housekeeping items. Number one, M1 Finance did not pay me to do this video, so this is completely on my own. Number two, I am an M1 Finance affiliate, so that means if you use the link in the description to sign up for an M1 Finance account, I do get paid a small referral fee. So if you do, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Number three, I am an M1 Finance account owner. So I actually have two accounts with M1 Finance. I've been using them for a number of years, so I would not recommend anything to you that I haven't tested myself.
I approve.
And finally, number four, if you want access to the in-depth training on how to set up your own M1 Finance account, click a link in the description. Click that link, sign up, you'll get all the information you need to get access to that live training so that you can become a rock star on your M1 Finance account. All right, let's go ahead and get started and find out what M1 Finance is all about. Let's go ahead and start and answer the first question. Who is M1 Finance, or what is M1 Finance? So basically, M1 Finance is a robo-advisor, and you probably heard this term before. Basically, they are an investment app. You are not working with anybody directly, so you're not talking to a human, but you can start investing utilizing their platform. And what they are really known for is their investment pies, which we will talk more here in a sec. But you know, as fintech continues to evolve, really what makes M1 Finance special is that not only do they offer investing, but they also offer the ability to borrow. So you can actually take out loans with M1 Finance. They also have a debit and credit card that you can also use. So really, like, this is the direction that a lot of these fintech companies are going towards, is having that all-in-one solution. Basically, M1 Finance can become your bank if you so choose. Now, a common question that many people have regarding M1 Finance is, well, are they brand new? Because I've never heard of them. And when you want to compare to like a Fidelity or a Vanguard, yes, they are relatively new. So they were founded in 2015. So yeah, that's about 6-7 years. So that's not that old, but compared to a lot of fintech and a lot of investment apps that are popping up left and right, I mean, they're pretty much OG by now. Now, another way that you can see if a firm is legitimate is how big are they? What is their size?
That's what she said.
Okay, maybe not that kind of size. The size I'm talking about is what's referred to as AUM, or assets under management. In this TechCrunch article, M1 Finance reported that they raised $150 million to boost their valuation at $1.45 billion. But that's not answering the question, what is their AUM? Well, in this article, it shared, now this is going back to July, that their current AUM back then was $4.5 billion. $4.5 billion. So that is a lot of money, but how does that compare to some of their competitors? So if we look at, say, a Robinhood, you know, this report shows that Robinhood has $80 billion. E-Trade, $600 billion. TD Ameritrade, $1.3 trillion. So at $4.5 billion, like, that's a lot of money. but they're still relatively small compared to a Robinhood, E-Trade, and some of the other bigger investment firms. Either way, $4.5 billion is nothing to scoff at, and I've got no issues with that size. Like if they had 100 million, then I'd be a little bit more concerned, especially for an investment app. Let's now talk about what does M1 Finance offer. And we're going to start with types of accounts. So with M1 Finance, you can open up your traditional type of investment accounts. So that includes, it could be a single account, it could be a joint account. These are your basic brokerage accounts that you open at other investment firms. They also offer IRAs, so traditional Roth, SEP IRAs. Now for me, the one that I was really excited about is they offer trust accounts. And this is this is the main account that I have with M1 Finance. So for my 401k, this is set up as a trust account. And I was super excited to see that I could set up my 401k trust account with M1 Finance that I couldn't do at other places, like Robinhood. Robinhood, seriously, like you have more AUM, but you can't open Roth IRAs or trust accounts? Like, come on, get with the picture. If you have kids, you could also set up custodial accounts with M1 Finance. So I was really impressed with the types of accounts that you can set up with them. They offer everything that you would need. What about investments? What sort of investments do they offer? So here's another reason why I'm a big fan of M1 Finance. So M1 Finance offers individual stocks and also ETFs. So you can buy both. Now, the other thing that makes M1 Finance also cool is that they offer fractional shares. So that means if you only have $100 to invest and you want to buy Tesla, if you go to E-Trade, if you go to these other traditional brokerage firms, you can't buy a share of Tesla. You don't have enough. But with M1 Finance, you can buy a fractional share of Tesla, depending on how much you have to invest. You don't have to put it all in Tesla as well. If you want to put that with Tesla, or you want to put that in an ETF or split it up, you can also do that too. So it offers a lot of flexibility. Now, what most people are familiar with M1 Finance is their investment pies. And I'll show you more behind the scenes look at my pie near the end of this video. But with their investment pies, basically you can build your own pie. So if you want to build a pie, so let's say if you have $1,000 and you want to put 25% of that into Tesla stock and 25% into a Vanguard ETF and the other 25% into another stock or another ETF, you can build your own pie. Now, for some people that might be discouraging. It might be scary. It's like, oh, I don't know how to do that. I don't want to build my own pie. I don't trust myself. Well, M1 Finance also offers their community and expert pies. So basically you have other investment experts that have already created their own pies that you can just select that pie as long as it matches your investment goals and your investment timeline. So all the heavy lifting, all the hard work is done for you. Now, this is beyond the scope of what I want to talk about in this video, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least address the fact that M1 Finance also offers a borrow product. So they have M1 Borrow and they also have M1 Spend, and they have their credit card. So if you need a loan, if you need a credit card, if you want to earn interest on money sitting in cash, M1 Finance also have solutions for those as well. As you can see, M1 Finance has everything that you need to meet all of your financial needs. Does that still make M1 Finance safe? That is the next question that many people want to know. Are they safe? Well, if you didn't know this about any sort of investment firm, is that they have to be regulated by some sort of governing body. And in this case, with all investment firms, that governing body is FINRA. So they are a registered broker-dealer with FINRA, which also means that they have to have what's called SIPC insurance. SIPC stands for Securities Investor Protection Corporation. And basically what that says is that if M1 Finance were to go under, you're going to have protection up to $500,000, which also includes $250,000 for cash. So are they safe? Yes. Now, if you want to do some more digging, if you don't trust what I'm saying and you want to find out more, you can go to FINRA Broker Check and you can actually find their what's called their ADV, which is their client brochure. And I was actually on here looking at all their different disclosures. So this is all the stuff that they have to file with the state and also with the FINRA board that everything has to be reviewed. So if you want to find out who the principals are, everything that's going on behind the scenes, if there's been any litigation, there's been any complaints filed against them, which I couldn't find any, by the way. So you can go, if you want to search M1 Finance ADV, then you can find all their different client brochures. So this is the one on BrokerCheck, and I found other resources on here. Once again, this is if you're like that attorney and you want to do some snooping, doing some sleuthing to find out more about them, you can. But what I found, I didn't find anything that was wrong, any wrongdoing. So is M1 Finance safe? Yes, they are.
Guaranteed.
So at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, Jeff, this sounds all very good, but as they usually say, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So M1 Finance has to be like super expensive. Their fees have to be outrageous. So let's tackle that question. What is M1 Finance's fees? Well, this is the crazy thing with a lot of these different robo-advisors, and M1 Finance is not the first one to do this, but they went to a model where basically they offer free trading. That means that any of these ETFs that you buy, anything that you sell, there are no fees. And you're like, okay, well, how in the world do they do that? And this is actually a blog post that the CEO wrote when they announced this. They actually announced this back in 2017. So they've been doing this for quite some time. But basically, how they're able to do this is, obviously there is no such thing as a free lunch. But with them, how they're making money. So we talked about their lending platforms that they have. They also offer margin. So if you're looking to borrow money against your stock or your ETFs, basically borrow against your securities, you can do that. And there is margin loan rates that you have to pay. Now, you don't have to do that. That's just something that they offer. The other thing is that when they are taking all of these orders, right? When you have 4.5 billion under management and people are initiating all these different trades or they're doing rebalancing, they have to go through a clearing house. So, they'll find certain ones that they go through, they work out these different deals, and they're bringing mass trades to these clearing houses. They're going to get paid, for all these different trades that are being executed as well. So there is stuff going on behind the scenes. Now, does a lot of that pass to you? You do incur some of that. But if you want to compare that to some of the traditional brokerages where, they're charging you $10, $15, $20 or more to make a trade on a stock or an ETF, like what M1 Finance is charging is pennies in comparison.
Come on, be real.
So in regards to trading, paying any trading fees, there aren't any fees. If you want to look at some of their miscellaneous fees that could happen. So just here's a quick list so you can see, there's overnight mail, there is a wire fee. If you are transferring your account out, so if you get tired of M1 Finance and you want to move it to Robinhood or somewhere else, there is a $100 transfer out fee. If you have a Roth IRA with them and you want to close that account, there's a $100 termination fee. So there are some fees associated with their accounts if you have them, but most of that includes if you are closing your account, transferring your account out. As far as like making trades, doing rebalancing, there are no trades for that. So let me just say, I'm glad that I'm no longer a practicing financial planner, because if I had to compete with the M1 Finances and the Robinhoods of the world that aren't charging any trading fees, the competition is so fierce. And when you look at what they offer and the technology and the platform, it is really legit. All right, so that answers that question. What about is M1 Finance for beginners? And as somebody that has been a financial planner for over 16 years, been creating content for, over a decade on personal finance and investing, I see all the challenges that a lot of people have in regards to investing. And when I look at M1 Finance, do I think that they are for beginners? The answer is yes. Now that response might surprise many of you because, as I shared earlier about their investment pies, with M1 Finance, you have to pick your own stocks, your own ETFs, and also build your own pies. So in that case, does that make them an investment platform that is for beginners? And the reason that I would say yes is because, one, when you actually look at their interface, like, it is so easy to do a search for stocks and ETFs and create your own pies. But even more so is that if you aren't comfortable building your own pie, you have the expert pies that are already done for you. And when I look at those expert pies, to me, that's when I think of a place like Betterment. And for those that aren't familiar with Betterment, they're another robo-advisor. And one of the things I've always liked about Betterment is that you don't have to build your pies. Like, you don't have to choose the investments. You just choose your financial goals and your investment timeline and your risk tolerance, and they do the rest. So with M1 Finance, like, if you don't want to build your own pie, like, you don't want to own Tesla stock, if you don't want to build, your own tech stock portfolio, you don't have to. You just choose one of the expert pies that aligns with what you are trying to achieve. So in regards to that, that's why I believe that M1 Finance is a great investment platform for any beginner, but also great for anybody that is not a beginner, that wants to do their own research and build their own custom portfolios. Okay, so we've answered all of the major questions that you had regarding M1 Finance. It's time to finally look at a over-the-shoulder look of my own personal M1 Finance account. Now, as I mentioned, I do have two M1 Finance accounts. The one I'm going to share with you today is my trust account, which is the larger of the two. So here is how it looks. So this is M1 Finance. I guess I need to also say, if you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to set up your investment pies with M1 Finance, once again, click the link in the description. You'll get access to that tutorial. All right, so here is my M1 Finance account. This is the desktop version. They do have the investment app as well, which is also super easy to use. It was easier for me to share my desktop version here. So this is my trust account, and you can see the gain that I've made. This was all started relatively almost like in the middle, actually, yeah, right here. So this account was started March 2nd of 2020. So this was really kind of during the pandemic is when I started to do this. And there have been some recent changes. Like, I just recently made some changes on this, but you can look at some of my current holdings. Definitely a lot of emphasis on the tech sector. We got Dropbox, PayPal, Alphabet, Disney, Facebook, Coinbase, Apple, Amazon, Tesla. And even though this says Crypto Pie, that's actually only really one security, and that is the ProShares Trust, which is the Bitcoin ProShares Trust, the ProShares Bitcoin strategy. So that is the Bitcoin ETF that you can buy. I was trying to add a few different other investments in that crypto pie, but nothing yet that I wanted to add. So even though that looks like it's its own pie, it's really just one investment, one holding, which is the ProShares Bitcoin strategy ETF. So whenever you initially build out your pie, you choose the percentage of that stock or that investment that you want allocated. So in this case here with Tesla, my initial target was 14%. The actual is 19%, and that's because Tesla has done really well. And it wasn't until I recently just kind of made some adjustments on this portfolio where Tesla actually was a much higher weight. But as you can see, I've got a $35,000 gain just on Tesla stock, 688%, just to give you an idea. Now, in this case here, so let's say I want to update my pie, like I want to make an adjustment. Well, then I would just hit edit. So right now, here is my current pie that I have, and you can see all the different percentages that I'm targeting with each of these stocks or each of these different investments. So if I want to add a slice, I would just click this button here, add a slice, and then here's the list of all the different options that I have, over 3,883 different results. So here I can do a search. Let's say if I want to buy, Google's already listed there. I don't even know who I would name, but let's just, I mean, search for Tesla. Oh, okay, there's Tesla. If you want to buy GM, there's GM. There's GameStop. If you want to buy AMC, oh, there's AMC. if there's a Vanguard ETF that you want to buy, so VNQ, yeah, so the Vanguard real estate ETF. So these are the ones that are also available. So this is how you would just do this search, right? And then you would just say you want to click on, if you want to add Berkshire Hathaway, so then you would add that. So now it is currently added to my investment pie, but right now my pie is off because I have this Berkshire stock 1%. So right now it's totaling 101. So I would need to take away one of these other stocks to make sure that that balances out. But I don't want to add Berkshire right now. So we're going to exit out of that, confirm yes. So if you did want to build your own pie, or you want to add one of the expert pies to your own pie, you can also do that as well. So how that would look, come back to where we just were. We're going to add a slice. And then at the top here, you can see stocks. We've got funds. So here's all the Vanguard funds we talked about. We have my pie. So here's the one that I've created. And now you have your expert pies. So this is when I talked about kind of like Betterment, where you have all these different pies already created for you. So you've got general investing, plan for retirement, responsible investing, income earners, just stocks and bonds. And then you also have this other strategies, which is a little bit more on the, I don't say risky side, but basically you're just looking at, well, let's just look. This is what it looks like, right? So you have ARK, for those that know who are Cathie Wood. So you can buy the ARK ETFs. You can do cannabis. If you want a portfolio, man, if you need some cannabis, after you get high to get some pie, I mean, that's a perfect fit. I mean, I did not know it was going to be there. Anyway, so you got domestic growth, domestic value. So here's just some other strategies. The ARK ETF, that's a very popular one that people will also use. But let's just look at general investing. So you got ultra conservative, moderately aggressive, ultra aggressive. Let's look at a moderate. So as you can see here, there are 10 holdings, shows you the dividend yield that this pie offers. And if you actually click on it, you can actually see what the holdings are. So here there are 10 holdings, and this pie, we've got the Vanguard Total Bond ETF. We got the Vanguard Developed Markets ETF. It shows you the target weight. So you actually see the holdings that what you have. So if you want to add, if I wanted to add this to my pie, then this is what I would do. I would just add it here and it would be done. And then I would determine how much weight would I want of my portfolio to go in that one pie. Maybe you're not sure if you are ultra aggressive or ultra conservative, but when you want to retire. You may have heard of target date funds. So guess what? They also offer that here. So in the retirement strategies, you have your 2020 aggressive, you go up to 2040 aggressive, 2060 moderate or conservative. So in this case here, you would choose the investment pie that is closest to whenever you think that you are going to retire. You see these offered mostly like in 401k plans, retirement accounts, and just makes it super easy. Basically, you're choosing your retirement year. It's going to build the portfolio for you. So let's look at a 2050 or 2045 moderate. So you can see all the different holdings. We got 16 different slices. So basically 16 different ETFs, all composed for this 2045 moderately aggressive portfolio. Now, what I really like is that you don't have to choose one pie over the other, or man, what if I want to do build my own pie for a little bit of my portfolio and the rest of it, I feel more comfortable putting that in an expert pie. You can do that too. That's what I totally love about M1 Finance is that if you want to just start with an expert pie, let somebody else make those decisions for you, you can do that. And as you build more confidence, if you want to start then selecting your own stocks or ETFs and build your own custom pie, you can do that all in the same account. That's what I absolutely love about M1 Finance. One last thing I wanted to point out, you can see here where M1 Finance offers this rebalance feature, which I think is just so super cool. So in this case here, with my Tesla stock, right now the actual weight is 19%. The target weight is 14%. So if this got completely out of whack and I want to get that closer to that 14%, I could just hit rebalance, and then M1 Finance would make all the trades necessary, selling Tesla stock, buying whatever stock that I would want to get that up to its equal weight. Now, one word of caution, if you do this, if this is a taxable account, recognize like when you do this, there is going to be some sort of taxable event that happens. So you may have to pay a short-term or long-term capital gain. Now, for me, like I never did that. I didn't care that Tesla stock had risen so much and was, representing a larger percentage in my portfolio. Like I was totally cool with that. I would only be concerned if I bought a stock and all of a sudden it just took off, went crazy, and now there's risk that stock is going to go under, or, I just don't have a lot of faith or confidence that stock is going to hold its current price. Then I would think about doing a rebalance or just selling it completely. But with Tesla stock, I'm like, heck, like, yeah, it can keep going up for all I care. Like, I don't want to lose the number of shares that I have. So that's why I never did a rebalance on my account. But something, if you want to do on yours, you most definitely can. And all it takes is clicking this little button and it will take care of it for you. I hope you can see how easy M1 Finance is to use. I shared my desktop view of M1 Finance. I assure you, their mobile app is just as easy to use. And if you have never invested in your life, I promise you, like, you're not going to get stuck. But if you are interested, you want to take that next step, take the plunge on getting set up with M1 Finance in a investment account or maybe a Roth or traditional IRA, check out the link in the description that you can get access to that more in-depth training on how to set up your M1 Finance account, how to set up your investment pies. I'll show you how to do it step by step, no holds barred, everything that you need to know to make sure that you get it set up properly. All right, y'all, hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until then, peace.